All right. We're going to go over some, that was upon request, we're going to get a little education on the second dynamic. How many people here got it all pat on the second dynamic? Everything's fantastic. Besides me and Troy. All right. Okay, there's always something, a little bit more to learn on the second dynamic. Right? And so I want to start out with some definitions, and I think it's really interesting because when I read this to somebody, they'll go, what's that? This is out of the Tech Dictionary. Second dynamic. A second dynamic is the urge toward existence as a sexual or bisexual activity.
That's in the Tech Dictionary?
That's in the Tech Dictionary. See, I always get that kind of response. Bisexual, right? What? The second dynamic is the urge toward existence as a sexual or bisexual activity. This dynamic actually has two divisions. A is the sexual act itself, and the second dynamic, and B is the family unit, including the rearing of children. This is called the sex dynamic. Sex, S-E-X. For some, it's a bad word, right? For others, it's a fun and exciting word. What's the difference?
Tone level.
Tone level, right? It's what?
Consideration.
No, it's a tone level. Because if you have somebody who's like had a lot of losses and upsets on the second dynamic, the tone's going to be pretty high. And if you look at the Science of Survival, has a actual human chart evaluations. So if you want to know about your second dynamic, where they're at, just find their tone level, go across, and you'll see where they're at sexually. If they're into creativity, or punishment, or repulsive, they're repulsive about sex. See, the matches.
We should make that into pocket size and make it available to all young people.
Yeah, right. Right. But us old people need to know this too. And so say you have a 2D, right? And that 2D emotional tone is quite low for whatever reason. Had a bad day at work. Are they going to be interested in sex? Maybe in punishment. Maybe way down. Maybe they're just repulsive. You got a headache, I don't feel like it. So you want to partake in the activity of sex, you have to get that person's tone level up. That makes sense? If you're not having any sex in your second dynamic, or do you have a second dynamic? No, say no. No. It doesn't exist. The urge is there, or gone, or suppressed. But see, the urge is always there. I don't care how old you are. I've audited people in their 80s and close to 90s, and even though they can't perform like they did when they were 19, they're dreaming about it. They're dreaming about it. Urge doesn't go away. It's part of you. It's part of your creativity as a being in this universe. Okay, sex. Sex says here. Sex is a creative impulse. He says more, but that's about it. Creative impulse. So you crave for procreation, like the Christians, or like there's three beings, we sometimes crave for fun and excitement and that intimacy, that closeness with that person. So I've been a marriage counselor for 40 years, and one of the first things I asked the two couple who were having problems This is their main problem. The main problem is not sex. The main problem is finances. 70% of the upsets that are going on, or they want a divorce. There's one couple, I said, if you had $100,000 in the bank right now, both of you, she has $100,000, do what you want with it. Do you have any problems with are you going to have any problems with your life right now? They both looked at me and said no. But there they are marching toward a divorce. Because they let these other dynamics interfere with their sexual life. Money. Okay. Let's look at each one of these. Look at sex. Let's look at love. Lover says the intensity of happiness addressed in a certain direction. That's one of his definitions. We're going to look at love.
Is that in the tech dictionary?
Yeah.
What does it say?
That's one of the definitions. The intensity of happiness addressed in a certain direction. Like if you love somebody and they enter the room, don't you get happy? Right? You go, oh, hey, you know. Not if you just love brotherhood love. You get happy. Hey, buddy, how's it going? You know, you get happy. If you don't like someone, or have affinity for somebody, you want to stay away from them. God, Charlie. God, Charlie's here. You know. It's like punching him. You know. See that? Happiness. So happiness has a lot to do with. Excuse me, I'm going to drink water. So I put out I said, well, there's some factors in a relationship that have to be looked at. And that's being happy, right? Happy. You spell happy?
That's right.
Happy. The other factor in a relationship is admiration. Right? So you can create a triangle here. And strong emotion. That's another thing Hubbard talks about in his definition of having a high emotion in the 2D book towards someone. So if you have a high emotion for somebody, like really from the heart, really feeling like you want to just hug the person, right? And you admire the person a lot, and you are very happy with this person. To that degree, you love that person. Now when I talk to a gal, 70% of the divorces are filed by women.
What?
70%. I saw it. Yeah, this came out of the CNN the other day. 70% of divorces in this nation are filed by women.
Oh, women.
Yeah, women, girls. And most of them, I found as a marriage counselor, is that they might still feel for the guy, but no longer happy. And if they're not happy long, for over a period of time, they'll file for divorce. So you got to keep your lady happy. How do you do that? And you got to keep your guy happy too. How do you do that? These are the secret things in keeping a relationship going.
Attention. Lots of
I got your
attention.
attention.
No, lots of attention. That's how you make somebody happy. You give him a lot of attention.
Let's look at happiness.
Yeah.
Let's look at happiness. What Hubbard says about happiness. Because I really looked at this thing. Happiness is not an emotion, it says. In other words, it's a state of condition. An anatomy of that condition is interest. Happiness, you could say, is the overcoming of not unknown obstacles toward a known goal. Now, I know a gal that divorced her husband because she wasn't happy. And I asked her, "Why are you not happy?" He promised me a nice new house, and I'm living in this dump for 12 years or longer, trying to raise their kids, and it wasn't dump. In fact, the house was haunted. Two people that I knew died there. And it wasn't, I didn't even want to stay there. When I visit, I didn't want to stay there either. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't want to be here. You ever been in a house like that? It was like icky, right? Well, she was feeling this way. 12, 15 years. She was unhappy. So unhappy, she wanted a divorce. Her goal for her kids was to live in a better neighborhood and to raise her kids in a certain neighborhood and have a nice house. What woman here doesn't want a nice house to live in? Right, everybody wants a nice house. All the women want a nest. They want a nice nest so they could nurture their kids properly without getting diseases, right? More secure. So she didn't feel too secure. So we're talking about reaching your goals. See? Same with the guy. Sometimes the partner tends to be the dream killer. Right? Guy wants to be a mechanic. Oh, you can't be a mechanic. No. You got to stay with your computer work. You know, the woman's saying that to him because she feels more secure because there's money coming in. But he really wants to be a mechanic. He's going to be unhappy the rest of his life, isn't he? He might file for divorce. You file some goals. When you first get together with somebody, you better really define your goals, and they better line up. Because somebody wants to be an artist. I know this one couple that they both wanted to be an artist. Fine, you think they have the same goals? No. Because one wanted to work for Walt Disney in LA, Los Angeles. The other one wanted to be an artist in France. Live in an island and paint. Half the property, he didn't care about money. He just wanted to paint in France. Cross purposes. You guys know what a cross purpose is? Yeah. One person's going this direction, and the other person's going this direction. I want to be in LA, I want to be in France. It ain't going to happen. They'll be married for a while. Maybe they have some children. They'll stick it out for the kids. But are they going to be happy? Is admiration going to go down? Is love going to go down? Yeah. This is the formula, guys. This is the formula. And you could work this formula with anybody, but the main factor is your goals. Because happiness depends on are you achieving your goals, just like it says here. Are you overcoming these obstacles to get toward your goals? So maybe you can look at your relationship right now. If there's any unhappiness, just because you're not achieving your goal, or you're not letting your partner achieve their goals, because you're afraid, uncertain. It's easy if you do this correctly. It's hard if you do it incorrectly. If you do not match up your goals and you're not moving toward them together. Question?
I had a question. What I found, and that's just from living life, I've already had two 2Ds in my lifetime, this lifetime.
I'm not surprised.
Technically.
Technically, everybody marries 3 times in this.
Is that right?
Yeah. In this kind of.
One more to go?
You got one more to go. Third time's charm.
But anyway, what I was going to say is that it just seems to me like my goals when I was younger and when I was raising a family were much different than my goals now that I don't have to raise a family anymore. And so my second dynamic, like when you were talking about those cross goals, my second dynamic could be, if I was an artist, I could be living in France and the person could be living in LA. and we could, you know, get together here and there and, you know.
Yeah, but you're talking about phases of life. See, when you're young and haven't got any children yet, you have certain goals, and maybe you have a family, you have to raise a family, that's a goal, versus somebody who's in their 60s or 70s, they're going to have different goals. See? Right? Their libido is not going to be as high. They have different goals, they have different interests. They might be in spirituality, they might be working on, hey, next time around or something. So, yeah, the goals are going to change. And that's why a lot of times when people have children together and the children grow up, you'll see people in their middle age or in their 50s divorcing because they've completed that goal. Right? The kids are off to college or they're done with that. And now, hey, I want to get off on this other goal that I had in mind to do this life before the children showed up, right? And then they wind up getting a divorce, you see. And I'm not saying divorce is bad.
No, I know,
Never
but
got
what I was
divorced.
saying is that, you know, sometimes.
I divorced my first wife, thank God. But yeah, we didn't. We had cross purposes. See, I didn't know all this text. See, I wouldn't have fell into this trap over here, this engram. Most people married 3 times in their life. And yeah, you're going to have like different goals in life. Even like when you're, say, a teenager, you might have a goal, some goals to go to college or to do this and that, and then you get the job, and then you got a goal to have marriage, have kids. See how your goals changes, right? You know, you might have career goals. You know. Okay. Does this make sense? This triangle here. I'm just not talking to the wind here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So I'll give you a tool to use. How do I get the tool? I use the technologies and the tools of Scientology and Dianetics to create tools. Tools in life. That's what I call them. Tools in life. I coined that. Tools in life. Because the people, anybody can understand this. Right? Just like anybody can understand ARC. That makes sense. You explain ARC triangle to somebody, it makes sense. ARC triangle makes sense.